Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel Making Investments Simple. Today I would be talking about large cap and mid cap stocks and what are the things you should be considering it while selecting a large cap mutual fund or a stock basically for investment. So as I told you, this has become a serious problem at this point of time in 2018, where people were bidding more on mid caps, where mid caps has actually fallen drastically from last year's rally. And so, whether you should be betting on large caps or mid caps in for better returns in current market. So, you have to first understand what would be a large cap and what is a mid cap, and then how it performs. So basically large caps are stocks which has large market capitalization, and there is a separate formula for market capitalization itself. Like in IT sector, TCS and Infosys actually has a very large market capitalization, so these can be termed as large cap stocks. What can happen is, with large caps, there are chances that it does not fall, it does not fall big unless there is a big major news out there, or major drawback. So that is the you don't expect a big downfall in this market. And also this market capitalization is mainly due to the investors on these stocks too. So mid caps are stocks which are under researched, basically, which has slightly lesser market cap. As I told you, it is not coming under small cap. Small cap is something where it has a small market capitalization. Again, some might be multi-baggers, or some has the potential to become multi-baggers because they might be a good company, but investors are just not aware and may not have invested on it. So mid cap, so these are small caps. So mid caps are something in between. Anything which is not large cap or small cap, this comes in between. And as I told you, it's like typical middle class, you can say. We all say that middle class suffers a lot and things like that. That's exactly the story with stock markets too. The mid caps suffer a lot in a market crash most of the time, but it rallies. But when it rallies a lot, also mid caps suffer a lot. Again, in a hypothetical scenario where markets are making new highs, that does not mean that mid caps are doing well or large caps. But comparatively, on in the year 2017, the mid caps have outperformed the market. So that's about mid cap. So whether you should be investing in one of these funds is a big question. And the straightforward answer would be that you need to have a diversification of your funds. That means you should actually do a good asset allocation, especially if you look at a portfolio of a balanced mutual fund. You will know that the asset allocation is very 60% in equities and 40% in debts and other low risk instruments. So similarly, when you are selecting a portfolio of stocks, you should have an asset allocation in such a way that it should be a mixture of both. A mixture of probably 40%, 40%, or 20, 40, something like that. You should have a good financial plan and decide on that asset allocation, and then decide to go into the stocks. Now, as I told you, by reading a book, by going through a video, you cannot decide the best portfolio. It comes from experience, and even after experience, you can make mistakes. It's one of those things where once you start to learn to drive a car, that doesn't mean that you can never be in an accident, or that doesn't mean that you cannot do a mistake or you cannot go wrong. So some of the basics, we do forget the basics while doing this, and then this can happen with an investor too in stock markets. This is very normal. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. there are times when I might have I have actually invested in a stock based on a certain parameters, but I was wrong, and then I came to know about that decision, and then I move on. So I have to exit. I did exit, of course, at a particular time, and then I moved on. So these things do happen, and not no one is actually a perfectionist. Even then, even if someone really knows very well the market, doesn't mean that he cannot do a mistake. Even the very high end investors and even high end stock traders also make mistakes. Their signals could be wrong, their intraday or positional levels could be wrong, and then they move on with that. So they make mistakes, they learn, and then they move on. So that's a story about large caps, mid caps, or small caps. You have to just try and try, and then make mistakes and then move on. So learn from your mistakes and move on. So as I told you, it should be your portfolio should be a combination of both, and a good combination, and the asset allocation should be such that if both mid caps and small caps are falling, you would still be not be losing so much money from the market. But as I told you, a typical example would be a typical balanced fund where the asset allocation is very nicely defined with the risk appetite. So yeah, so that those are my thoughts on this particular topic here. If you have any comments or feedback on my videos, please do put a comment here, and I'll be happy to go through your feedback and then create more quality videos in future. Thank you, and I will see you again on my next video.